Hello and welcome to another edition of Fours and Sixes with me, Swaroop. As always, I have Gomesh with me. First of all, apologies that it's been a long time since we did one of these videos. Today, we are here to not take a full view of what the IPL has been up to since its beginning. Today, we are here to talk about one team and what they have done or in this video, what they haven't done. We are here to talk about Chennai Super Kings is below par beginning. I think they've played 8 matches. They won 2, lost 6. What's happened to them?
I think one of the things that we always associated with Chennai is the consistency with which they pick their 11 and how they stick with it and get going. I think one of the biggest problems for them is not being able to find their best possible 11 on the field. They surely haven't been able to read the conditions of their home venue. Their top order hasn't fired, and they have had there's a lot of conversation about where Dhoni comes in, but obviously there has been bigger problems than that.
Dhoni is just part of the problem, not the problem.
Exactly. So there has been and of course the injury to Gaikwad only adding to it. So there is a number of things that's not gone their way. They have still not thrown in the towel yet. Even today, Stephen Fleming said RCB has set the blueprint last year. Winning 6 games on the row to going into the playoffs. They still haven't thrown in the towel yet.
That point you mentioned about consistency in team selection, I think after they played Ayush the last match, if I remember correctly, it's now makes them fielding 19 players.
Yeah.
Chennai have gone through winning seasons just by playing 16 or 17.
Yeah.
And I think that's like a big thing for them.
And that tells the underlying problem, right? It's not.
I think there was I do know that some analysts felt that Chennai had an amazing squad. Ashwin hasn't turned up, let's be honest. Ashwin definitely hasn't turned up. Not been value for money at all. They probably could have, obviously hindsight is 2020 and all that. They could have signed somebody like a Washington and put all that money on the middle order. And the auction, we do know that they tried Stoinis really hard for Stoinis. They went after Maxwell. Both of those players they couldn't get. And then pivoting to somebody like a Vijay Shankar, and Vijay Shankar has made some runs this season, but it tells the muddled thinking that even at the auction table, because you do not go from Stoinis to Vijay Shankar, they are two completely different players, right?
And that's been the story. The last couple of auctions, it seems like we've seen them go after a player to a certain point and then bail out, and then we've seen that player go ahead and had a great season. That's been the case in the last couple of years at least. But again, purely in terms of how their auction went, if they were looking to get back to the old kind of Chepauk in terms of conditions, on paper they had a great 11 for it, but they just, with replicating the same on the field, are two different things. Ashwin hasn't turned up at all. He hasn't had the conditions as well. And the team...
Well, to be honest,
Noor has been really good, obviously. Jadeja has had another below par season. They're batting him at number 4, despite the admission that there is a lot of work has to be done for him against spinners. Devon Conway has been through a lot on and off the field. His form wasn't there. Sachin Ravindra hasn't been able to get going. And Ruturaj Gaikwad, I never understood him pushing himself down to number 3.
There were some
Rahul Tripathi,
Gaikwad thought that the number 3 was the best place for him to get into the India scheme of things.
Could be, but in terms of whether it's worked out for CSK, it hasn't. Rahul Tripathi, he had a couple of good years with SRH. He was supposed to be that guy in the middle overs. Again, didn't work out. So on paper, it seemed like they really had a good squad, but things don't always go the way it's planned, and it's only gotten worse in terms of the moment they realized things had stopped working. The moves that only made things worse. So much that they had to go and pull in a 17-year-old in place of Ruturaj Gaikwad when they have someone like Vansh Bedi in the squad, and Sheikh Rashid has been there for 3-4 years now. And Fleming also had spoken about how The youth, young Indian batters, the way they are taking on bowlings and hitting sixers. And CSK, considering a team who's been predominantly relying on experience for, say, what, 7 years now, since
Donkeys
the
years.
2018 at least, uh, and they've come to a realization that they have to, at some level,
Adapt and change to
adapt
the
and
times.
build, and uh, they they're very much aware of it. But again, any team wouldn't want to admit in the face of the public and throw in the towel just yet, and they still have a chance.
I mean, I think realistically they're out of this year's tournament. I do know what RCB did last year, but forget winning a couple of matches. Chennai right now do not look like a team capable of winning 6 matches to make the playoffs.
They're not, but weird things have happened. You never know. I think, and then there is a Punjab game again in Chennai, and then there is an RCB game. If they manage to win the first three, then you never know. But
I think we know, let's be honest.
it's true, but we can say we can feel that, but at the same time, you can really not rule anything out. Even the last time against the during the match against RCB, I was there at the ground. Uh, the match was far gone by the time Dhoni came in, but you never know if he had been there. Had they gotten, they would have gotten across the line. The ball change, a lot of these factors, a lot of things are out of hand. But yes, at this point, both SRH and CSK seems like the chances are far from minimal. I remember I was looking at a stat analytically. Someone had posted that RCB had a chance of 0.2% of qualifying to the playoff when they were 6 games out. That's probably what, even worse considering there are like 5 teams at 10, the odds that CSK make. But yeah, I mean, it seems like it is over.
We have spent some time with the batting. The other thing that's let CSK really down is new ball bowling, and apart from Khalil, they'll just forget picking up wickets. Apart from Khalil, nobody seems to even build pressure by bowling dots. Ashwin was supposed to be a power play spinner. That's why the team went ahead and then spent 9.8 crore or whatever on him. But he's been thrashed.
Yeah, no, he was supposed to be the solution to the power play bowling. That hasn't worked. They had Sam Curran, didn't work. They had, and the way they've utilized someone like Jamie Overton.
For me personally, I don't think they've used Jamie Overton
Yeah,
rightly.
exactly.
I mean, Jamie Overton was not used like this in any other franchise that he's played cricket in. They've now bought in Deval Brevis because their middle order batting against spin. Shivam Dubey hasn't really turned up. Jadeja, if Jadeja is going to be the answer against spinners, God help that franchise. If Dhoni is going to be the answer against spinners, again, God help that franchise. Brevis, extremely good spin hitter, but again, this franchise doesn't randomly give opportunities to players
And who
2 days after bringing him.
And in whose place will he play? That also remains a question.
Because you do not know who your best openers are, so Rachin gets in by default. Conway,
it's not
I think
there. Yeah.
Rashid is now going to be that Indian youngster. Ayush, you gave him an opportunity. I don't think you will again want to drop him. So that's like the top 3 locked right there.
And that seems to be the biggest problem, right? In terms of we spoke about Dubey. Dubey has been the enforcer in middle overs in the past, but when your top order is not getting through the power play, when your top order is not putting in a position where you're 70 for 1 or 2 in 7 overs, 8 overs, 9 overs, by and large he's coming in at like 70 for 4 at 9, which means I remember a game where he had to battle the 20th over against Mumbai Indians, if I'm not wrong, and just to get them across a three-digit mark. When that happens, and you look at the other team, someone like Gujarat, who also have a very similar kind of outlook on batting, very similar kind of a template. But what have they done? Well, their top 3 has consistently scored runs. At an 150 plus strike rate, they've ran well. They've made sure we don't know yet. The moment someone runs through the top 3 of GT, they might collapse. That's where their team stands at. But when that hasn't happened, when Rachin came in last year, there was a lot of promise, a lot of hype, but he never was the guy who was going to score 400 runs. He was this cameo.
He can
he
score
can.
400 if the strike rate you want out of him is 130.
Yeah, but that's
Again,
never going to
this
work.
game has changed, especially in India, where pitches have become flatter. Although there is now more swing than last year, but when teams now want somebody like a Priyan Sharia at the top, when teams are increasingly looking at maximizing the power play, Rachin is not going to be that player. I mean, like with all due respect to Rachin, he is a really good player, but Rachin is not the kind of opener you want in your squad.
And in terms of how much are you asking out of MS Dhoni, he's a professional player and he's there to win matches for
MS
them.
is great if you want 25 out of 10.
Yes,
And hitting junk pace. There is nobody
Yeah.
greater than MS at hitting junk pace at the end of games. But you do not want him coming out at 100 for 4 or 100
he's
for
not
5
that
after
batter
14
anymore,
overs.
and the team management is very much aware of it. That's why they are sending everybody, even Ashwin, ahead of Dhoni at some point, and the mortality of his age and his fitness is showing on the field as well, and just sheerly the sheer fact that they had to go back to him and not have someone else take the reins
That
to
is
get
also-
them
that is
through is a
also
sign of
reflective of how CSK haven't done succession planning. I know you can say Ruturaj shadow captain in the behind the scenes during the 23 season, if I remember correctly. But it again shows of a lack of imagination, that there is nobody else capable of taking over the reins, whereas other franchises it is not the case.
Yeah, I think that's also probably because they look at the experienced players, the players they have had for them to take over. It's Jadeja, an experiment that has already gone wrong in the past, or Ashwin, who is probably not a starter, not your first choice spinner at this point, considering
None
in
of
his
the
form.
overseas players can. I mean, Pathirana.
Sam Curran is captain, but he's not a starter.
Yeah.
There is no first 11 player who has spent enough time and won matches. Forget CSK, for any team in IPL to be able to take over. So it's probably the only guy left is Shivam Dube, and
Shivam Dube has been an impact player for some.
yeah. So it just shows how things have gone wrong from the word get go. And look, if you look at the last 7-8 years since 2018 when they came back from the suspension, 2018 they won, 2019 they reached the finals, but since then obviously when you go to experience, the mortality of the team by and large shows, and what they have done well is that every year they have, whenever things have gone wrong, they have managed to have a good auction. In the mini auction, comeback did well. 2020 they had a poor year, 21 they won, 22 poor year, 23 they won, but the 20 last year and this, they felt that they have identified a core group of players, whether it's Conway, Ruturaj, Dube, Gaikwad, but when your top four core, none of them has performed. One of them, your captain is injured and out. There is very little you can do at at some point in the stage, and they would want to go back to the drawing board and then figure out how they want to go, going forward. But yeah, and in terms of bowling also, Pathirana hasn't had a great season as well. We have spoken at length about Dhoni and a lot of other things. Jadeja getting the amount of money he's getting, and in terms of what he brings to the table, I don't.
If you're going to be earning 18 crore and you're supposedly an all-rounder, you get your team 15 wickets at an economy of under 8 and you hit 300 runs with the bat.
And
but he's doing neither.
Yeah, and I don't think he's, in terms of matchups, his range of batting in T20 cricket is very limited.
Spinner in this league, you better be Sai Kishore.
Yeah.
Left arm finger spinner, you better be Sai
Kishore. Or Mitchell Santner. Both of them former CSK players who let go.
Ironically.
And both of them have turned the campaigns around, especially Santner for Mumbai Indians. But yeah, the season seems like far gone for CSK.
I mean, CSK did win, I think, 5 in a row in 2010, but it was a totally different squad.
Yeah, so it seems like the season is done. They need a massive miracle from here on to come out of it and have a realistic chance, even by making it in terms of net run rate.
Interesting. That's all for another edition of Fours and Sixes. Thanks for watching. As always, stay safe and bye bye. Until the next edition.